Remaining calm, I knew I wasn't in danger. Honestly, I felt relieved to be out of that warehouse. The car stopped abruptly, and with a click, the boot opened. I was lifted out of the car as I heard Professor Davis commanding, "Take off her hood." And I stood in awe. Before me was a magnificent manor, almost like a palace, illuminated by the moonlight. Professor Davis turned to us, saying, "Introduce her to Claire before taking her to her room. I am going to retire for this evening." With that, the professor went inside, and the guard led me into the manor. As we moved through the house, past the library and the dining hall, I noticed a strange woman standing in the kitchen. She was big and heavy, with masculine features, yet dressed to present her femininity. "This is the new help. The governor isn't going to like this," the chef said, as the guard introduced me to Clare, the head of staff within the manor. "Professor Davis wants Catherine kept quiet from his partner," Claire added with a mischievous smile. "She's cute. I can see why he doesn't want her to know. A few extra diversity points," Claire remarked. Confused, I asked, "Diversity points?" "You know, social credits," Claire explained. "In short, a household gets points based on diversity. I am more oppressed in the old world, so I am worth 3 points, while you, being female and white, are worth 1 point. But that's not important right now. You are here as the new maid. Come, help us get ready for tomorrow." As we cleaned the kitchen, my stomach rumbled, and Claire handed me a gray protein bar. "Eat, child. Tomorrow will be a busy day," she said. I questioned the contents of the bar, and she replied, "Crickets and mixed seed oils." "I can't eat this," I choked. But Claire insisted. "Did you see fields of cows, chickens, pigs? Only the elites have real meat. You need to take your protein." Going to bed that night, I was taken upstairs in a small room assigned to me. I found a real bed and a French maid outfit waiting neatly on a desk. Claire explained, "This is your uniform. Professor and the governor are above the law, while we may face demerits to our credit or re-education if we fall below their standards." With a hint of venom in Claire's tone, "The professor doesn't expect much from you. He wants eye candy and a servant. You should be fine. I'll wake you at 0600. That night, I had the best sleep since living in my family's bunker, grateful for the comfort of a real bed. The next morning, Claire barged into my room, carrying a bowl of water and a sponge. "Get ready. I'll help you clean up. We have to hurry. We need to be in the kitchen by 0630, she ordered with urgency. I looked at the maid outfit, feeling torn between accepting my fate or the possibility to seeking justice for my parents and the Nomads. As I began getting ready, Claire moved around the room with a mixture of efficiency and authority. However, her heavy breathing and lingering gaze made me feel uneasy and vulnerable in her presence. As she started to undress me slowly, I became even more uncomfortable, feeling exposed. Sitting on a stool with my knees pulled close to my chest, I hastily washed myself, trying to get this embarrassing ordeal over with. Suddenly, a cold, wet sponge hit my back, making me jolt in surprise. Claire continued to rub my back, seemingly taking pleasure in the act, which only added to my discomfort. "I'll clean your back for you, dear," Claire said with an unsettling smile, and I felt even more exposed. Trying to maintain some semblance of control, I covered myself as much as possible and asked Claire to step back. Her proximity and the sharp object I noticed in her pocket made me wary of her intentions. I hesitated, but eventually complied when she asked me to extend my arm for her. Just as I was starting to feel overwhelmed by the situation, a clock alarm went off, and Claire seemed to remember her other responsibilities. She hurriedly left the room, and I breathed a sigh of relief. With Claire gone, I examined the maid outfit. With butterflies in my stomach, I had to remind myself of my current reality, with a lingering hope I could investigate the DSA from the inside and eventually escape. Despite my discomfort, I knew that playing my part carefully within the DSA would be crucial for survival. I needed to gather information, understand the true intentions of those around me, and find a way to make a difference for my people and myself. It was a dangerous path, but I was determined to find justice and freedom for the oppressed, even if it meant enduring uncomfortable and compromising situations. Standing at the door of the kitchen, dressed in the maid outfit, I noticed Claire rushing around making breakfast. She offered me a protein bar, but I refused, while other staff members ate theirs. Suddenly, the bell rang and Claire told me, "Professor Davis is ready for you." Walking into the dining hall, I saw the professor sitting at the head of the table, glaring at me. I struggled to focus as the smell of the food I was serving filled the room. The professor complimented my outfit. Lady Catherine, that outfit is perfect on you." But I spoke up. "Professor, I am sure your wife won't like you talking this way." "Never mind her. She's having her own affairs," he replied dismissively, as he slowly ate his breakfast piece by piece between reviewing each report. The doorbell chimed. "Can you see to that?" I was asked to attend to it. 2 well-dressed gentlemen entered, pushing past me. "Professor!" the lead man shouted. Professor Davis yelled, "Randall, in the dining room." The other man followed, eyes piercing as he stared me down. He was at my family's bunker. It's him. As my heart stopped, all of a sudden he tackles me to the floor. Randall and Davis run into the lobby. I was pinned under Agent Johnson. "Johnson, what the hell are you doing?" Randall shouts. "Get off me!" I claw at him, catching his left eye. "It's Ryan, sir. Her group killed my men." He overpowered me. "Get off my staff!" Davis slammed a nearby table. As Johnson held his standoff, staring each other down, Randall stepped in. "Johnson, I order you to stand down." Johnson looked at Randall, wanting to answer back but feeling unease. He yielded and got off me. "Wait outside," Randall ordered as Johnson left. I dusted myself off as Davis gestured us to enter the dining room. "So, Randall, what brings you here?" "The governor asked me to investigate a security issue quietly. We believe your birthing facility mishaps are acts of sabotage." Randall hands a file over. "Nonsense, only my staff have access. They're loyal to our democracy." As Davis dismissed Randall's concern, distracted by another gentleman entered. "Sorry I'm late. The Madden governor delayed me. Aid's duties are never-ending," he said with a smug grin. Randall greeted him while Davis looked in disdain. "Thanks for coming, Eric. I've told the professor about the sabotage theory within Ectolife." "Good. So we need to go and retrieve the logs from the facility. I'll go for you with your access card, Professor." Asserting, Eric held out his hand. "Fat chance. My wife's underwear is not enough. You want to get into my work too?" Davis growled. "Enough, Eric. Tell the governor I'll handle it." "Professor, can you retrieve the logs for me? I'll collect it tomorrow." "But the governor asked me to retrieve it for Central Intelligence Review." Eric mumbled. "For you, Randall, fine. Now get out. I've got to host an induction ceremony soon." "Catherine, can you make sure Mr. Eric leaves the property at once?" Davis grinned. I escorted Eric out to the gate, and I could hear Johnson arguing with Randall waiting by their car. But he was told to be quiet. Eric turned to me. "Catherine, was it? Don't worry. I won't tell the governor you're here. She can be a little bit jealous. Look what happened to the last pretty maid. Just be careful." Rest of the morning, I stood behind Professor Davis as he prepared his notes for this afternoon. He was ignoring his cooked breakfast, now cold. But still, my stomach was growling at the aroma of fried bacon and eggs. "You hungry, miss? Take it. I've lost my appetite." Without hesitation, I took a bite of bacon, real meat, which tasted heavenly. Later that day, Davis asked me to stand behind him, projecting an image of beauty as he sat in front of a camera, set up in the library, waiting for the presentation to begin. The seal of DSA New Medical College appeared on the display, signaling the start of the ceremony. "Now, to introduce the new class of medical students, please welcome Professor Davis," announced the host. A hall filled with dozens of students sat watching us in return. "Students of the DSA, you are the next generation, and I look forward to teaching and working together," Davis addressed the eager audience. College lecturers stepped into frame, ready to lead the Pledge of Equity. "Please repeat after me," they instructed. "We commit to uprooting the legacy and perpetuation of structural violence deeply embedded within the healthcare system. We recognize iniquities built by past and present traumas rooted in white supremacy, colonialism, the gender binary, ableism, and all forms of oppression, promoting a culture of anti-racism, listening, and amplifying voices for positive change. We pledge to honor all indigenous ways of healing that have been historically marginalized by oppressive medicine, the students recited, displaying their dedication to transformative change. As the screen faded, Davis stood up, clearly annoyed by the ceremony. "That's the stupidest thing we do," he muttered in frustration. I couldn't help but question. My mom was a nurse, and she told me about the Hippocratic Oath. "That's what we used to do in the USA. Your mother, did she teach you about medicine?" Davis inquired dismissively. "She did, but I've never had the opportunity to practice. I was going to with a nomad doctor, but the DSA kidnapped me before they could," I explained, reflecting on the opportunities taken from me. The professor looked out the window, lost in thought. "I could secretly enroll you into college," barely above a whisper. "Anyway, call the car. I want to show you my work on the Ectolife project. And bring an umbrella, will you? It's going to rain," he said, seemingly contemplating to himself.